I know you can't see it, but I am smiling under this mask. It feels so good to be. I mean, my eyes are all crinkly now anyway, so you can't tell if I'm smiling or not, but I'm smiling. Welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. This is my first time back in this sanctuary in a long time, and it really does feel so good to be here. And I love how everyone is doing their best to respect each other's space and to make everybody feel safe. So, on behalf of the worship committee and the board of trustees, thank you all. Speaking of the board, representing them today is Michelle Kelly. Where's Michelle? Is she here? Oh, she's outside. Well, she's here today outside. If you are newer to Heritage or are visiting us this morning, you're invited to meet up with Michelle. She'll be coming in a minute at the end of the service for a quick tour of the building, and she'll be able to answer any questions you may have about Heritage. If you already know your way around the building, we ask that you leave the sanctuary or the Great Hall, if you're out there in the Great Hall, if you leave the sanctuary or Great Hall right after the service. For the time being, with the pandemic still a part of all of our lives, we request that folks do their after church socializing either out in the parking lot or out on this back patio. However, one way to be exempted from that request, at least for a moment or two, is to volunteer to help put up the chairs that are laid out in the Great Hall for the overflow seating. I now direct your attention to the announcements of church events that are printed in the bulletin this morning. Again, if you have any questions about the myriad of things that are happening here at Heritage, just ask a board member, an usher, a greeter, or a staff member. A particular welcome to those watching us on Zoom today or later on video, whether you are here in person or not. In today's Thanksgiving Sunday service, we hope to offer you a big dose of community, a little something to think about, and the comfort of some heritage holiday traditions in word and song. To get us started, here is Reverend Bill.
So I've noticed one thing already as we returned on our first few Sundays back in the sanctuary is that folks have gravitated to the exact same area of the sanctuary where they used to always sit, regardless of the spacing in the chairs and the whatever. It's like, here's my spot. Hi, John and Chris. Here's my spot. Hi, Lynn. So it's like putting on a warm, familiar glove as the weather gets colder. I think it's really cool. Our call to worship this morning is adapted from Allison Wohler. With thankful hearts, we have come together this morning to celebrate the bounty of the day, to bask in the warmth of this community, to share with friends these challenging times, these changing tides, these remarkable days that we have been given, to lift our spirits once more as we lift up our hopes for a better future. We join together this morning, as always, to resist injustice and inequality wherever they may be found, to assert our undying belief in justice even when it may feel distant or impossible to achieve, because our hearts are touched by the human need we feel all around us, whether far away or within the reach of our hand. We have gathered together here because this is how we believe our lives are best lived, in compassion and service, in gratitude and joy, in companionship and love, in community with one another. This is our church. Here we are home. Here we are made whole. Let us begin. Come, let us worship together. So whether you are here in the sanctuary this morning or gathered in the Great Hall watching on that big screen or are watching on the small screen of your laptop, phone, or other device on Zoom, I add my welcome to Jenny's, and I am grateful that you have joined us, grateful that you are part of this loving, worshiping community today. Please rise in body or spirit this Thanksgiving Sunday as we sing together our hymn of invocation, Spirit of Life, and repeat our congregational covenant. Spirit of Life is number 123 in your hymnal. By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. But Lacey and I will be talking about the past later this month, talking about history. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to put in a plug for our history class, because the song we're about to sing is a little piece of UU trivia and history in and of itself. Several years ago, I had the good fortune of visiting the UU Church in Northampton, Massachusetts on this very Sunday, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And the congregation sang a rousing, and it turned out traditional annual rendition of Over the River and Through the Wood. It seems that Lydia Mariah Child, whose poem composes the lyrics of this holiday classic, had been a member of that very church and had written the poem about the woods that were just outside the windows there. And that's part of our UU trivia for today. Here's some more, though. She was born Lydia, but when she joined the Unitarian Church as a young woman, she chose the name Mariah for herself, and that's how it's pronounced, not Maria. I just learned this yesterday, so you can always learn new things. She chose the name Mariah for herself to mark what she considered that turning point in her life, and she preferred to go by that name throughout her life. Here's a little bit more of the history part. I want you to know a few things about Lydia Mariah Child. At the age of 22, 2 centuries ago, she wrote the first historical novel ever published in the United States, and it featured interracial marriage in some of its characters. In addition to being a popular author, she was a radical abolitionist. She fought tirelessly for women's rights, and she advocated for Native American rights. And at the age of 42, published a highly influential scholarly work titled The History and Condition of Women in Various Ages and Nations. She also later wrote a 3-volume collection of the writings from the world's religions that featured her own commentary. Lydia Maria Child was a remarkable human being, so we honor her today and our history and tradition as we sing Over the River. Please rise in body or spirit. The words are in your program and or should be appearing on the screen. Let's sing Over the River. I guess I'm just a sentimentalist, but that song always warms my heart and lifts my spirit. It comforts me, and I need comforting this morning because I have some very sad news that I have to share with you before we continue with the rest of our worship service. Last night we learned of the unexpected death of former Heritage Church minister Reverend Linda Eppert. I'm sorry to have to break this news to those of you who had not yet heard this in this way, but I do think it is good that we are together here in this sanctuary that Linda loved and where she was loved as we process this loss and remember Linda and mourn her passing. Linda served us from 2005 to 2008, and for the past several years she was truly enjoying retirement, making the most of life, traveling around the country with her husband Steve in their RV. And when they weren't visiting national parks, the Epperts had made Galveston, Texas their new home. Linda was an admired and respected youth minister here at Heritage. And for me, she was a good friend and beloved colleague. I will light a candle in her memory later in the service, but here and now, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence in honor of the life and ministry of Reverend Linda Eppert. Blessed be, and amen.
Here at Heritage, we are familiar with the fact that into times of joy and celebration comes times of sorrow and grief. We honored that with our upcoming tradition of Candles of Community. But it is our community that supports us, and one of the ways that we share that support beyond these church walls is through our outreach offerings. And today's recipient is a long-standing community partner that we have had a long-standing tradition of supporting, of sharing our joy and our abundance with them by supporting their food pantries. And I'm sure it's no secret that November and December are great times of need for places like interparish ministry. So you all have done a great job already of supporting with your financial contributions the upcoming holiday store that they are having. And I've already got a room full of gifts that I've purchased already with about half of what you've donated, so I'll be doing some more shopping. If you still want to donate to that effort, you can talk to me after the service if you're unsure how to do that. I do ask that that be through either purchasing an item yourself and dropping it off here at church for me to deliver, or going to their Amazon wish list, and whatever you purchase will be delivered directly to them. But today we are going to pass the plate and all of your donations today will go directly to the food pantry to support their choice pantries and help make this upcoming holiday season a little more bountiful for our neighbors. So I ask you, as you are willing and able, to support them.
Grateful for each hand we hold, gathered round this table. From far and near we travel home, blessed that we are able. Grateful for this sheltered place, with light in every window, saying welcome, welcome, share this feast. Coming away from sorrow. Father, mother, daughter, son, neighbor, friend, and friendless, all together, everyone in the gift of loving kindness. Grateful for what's understood, all that is forgiven. We try to be so good, to lead a life worth living. Father, mother, daughter, son, neighbor, friend, and friendless, all together, everyone, let the grateful days be endless. Grateful for each hand we hold, gathered round this table.
Thank you, Les. At this time, I invite you to read responsively with me number 515 in your hymnal. There might be other opportunities for you to see the words on various screens. In any case, please respond with the words in italics as I read the words in regular print. Number 515, we lift up our hearts in thanks. For the sun and the dawn which we did not create, for food which we plant but cannot grow, for this gathered company which welcomes us as we are from wherever we have come, for all things which come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves.
Gifts of life and love and friendship, we lift up our hearts in thanks this day.
And now let us lift up, let us open our hearts in prayer. Spirit of life, source of all being and all gifts, seen and unseen, we have set aside an hour this morning and a day later this week, a season as the seasons turn, to be grateful, to acknowledge that there is so much beauty, so much abundance in our lives. Perhaps we might do this every day that we awaken in this wondrous world. Dear God, help us to recognize the simple gifts of companionship, of warmth and shelter, of abundant harvest. But also remind us that not everyone shares in such gifts. In a world of inequity and injustice, let us renew our commitment to work for equality and justice for all. In a world where many are hurting, many are grieving, let us remember. Let us open our hearts, our homes, our lives to those who need us. Today, as we pause from our routines to be together and give thanks, let us make manifest that gratitude through renewed common purpose to bring about the beloved community, creating a world where all share in the bounties and blessings of this life and where all who are hurting receive comfort. May it be so, and amen. And now to continue this time of reflection and reverence in shared silence, offering your own private prayers this season of Thanksgiving. May we ever and always honor the Spirit of life in each and in all. Amen. The following poem by Barbara Crooker is titled Praise Song. It has been a staple of our Thanksgiving Sunday services for several years now, and I offer it to you in celebration of the fact that we are back together in our sanctuary as these holidays begin. Praise the light of late November, the thin sunlight that goes deep in the bones. Praise the crows chattering in the oak trees. Though they are clothed in the night, they do not despair. Praise what little there is left, the small boats of milkweed pods, husks, hulls, shells, the architecture of trees. Praise the meadow of dried weeds, yarrow, goldenrod, chicory, the remains of summer. Praise the blue sky that hasn't cracked yet. Praise the sun slipping down behind the beech nuts. Praise the quilt of leaves that covers the grass. Scarlet oak, sweet gum, sugar maple. Though darkness gathers, praise our crazy fallen world. It's all we have, and it's never enough.
This poem is titled Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it till your voice catches the thread of all the sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere like a shadow or a friend.
Here is a reading from Richard Gilbert titled The Poignancy of Living in These Days. I inhale and exhale in regular rhythm, an act so common it never occurs to me to pay attention. But when I do, I am overwhelmed by the wonder of it all. I eat my food as I have done 1,000,000 times, a practice so frequent I hardly notice, like the miraculous million events that happen in my body every day, every moment. But when I do notice, I am taken with their singular beauty. I greet my loved ones as I have greeted them for years, a habit that I pass off casually until I realize the deep poignancy of greetings and farewells and how precious they are, how they touch deeper feeling chords each time. Perhaps it is middle age or old age, or perhaps sentimentality grows in me, or perhaps it is these difficult days in which we live. Maybe I am awakening to life in ways transcending my usual semi-awake state of being. The poignancy of living here now in these times penetrates me, burrows deep into my psyche or soul or spirit, I know not what. I only know that I feel things more deeply with the passing years, and that the common things of life become uncommon, that the ordinary becomes extraordinary, that the habitual becomes the sacred.
Late Thursday night or early Friday morning, the longest, almost total lunar eclipse of our lifetime lit up the crystal clear Cincinnati sky. In honor of that uncommon celestial miracle, our final reading this morning is a poem by Billy Collins titled As If to Demonstrate an Eclipse. I pick an orange from a wicker basket and place it on the table to represent the sun. Then down at the other end, a blue and white marble becomes the earth. And nearby, I lay the little moon of an aspirin. I get a glass from a cabinet, open a bottle of wine, and then I sit in a ladder-backed chair, a benevolent God presiding over a miniature creation myth. And I begin to sing a homemade canticle of thanks for this perfect little arrangement, for not making the earth too hot or too cold, not making it spin too fast or slow, so that the grove of orange trees and the owl become possible, not to mention the rolling wave, the play of clouds, the geese in flight, and the Z of lightning on a dark lake. Then I fill my glass again and give thanks for the trout, the oak, and the yellow feather, singing the room full of shadows as sun and earth and moon circle one another in their impeccable orbits. And I get more and more cockeyed with gratitude.
I get more and more cockeyed with gratitude. Isn't Billy Collins great? And while I'm at it, isn't Jenny Hammerstadt great? She brings such life and spirit to whatever she shares. So let me begin my brief, we can only hope, Thanksgiving remarks today by expressing my gratitude to Jenny, to our wonderful worship committee, and to all the folks who helped me, and in doing so help us to enjoy great worship week after week. This, of course, includes our tech team. Let's give them a little love right now. They knock themselves out every week to bring such complicated stuff together and to make it all happen here in person or on Zoom, out in the Great Hall. Things aren't perfect. Life isn't perfect, but these people are about as perfect as I know, and I love them. I think they're great. Kevin, Bill, Reed, Rachel, Danny. Words cannot fully express my and our appreciation, so thank you. And that's where I want to begin my gratitude list this Thanksgiving morning, Thanksgiving Sunday morning, with all the folks who make our worship services possible. I don't know if you notice it when you're signing up online to attend service now in this brave new world. You are signing up online to attend service, right? But when you do so, there's two categories. Not that we usually believe in categories, but you'll notice that some Sundays there are nearly 24 people who are involved in or participating some way in the worship. It truly takes a village. So thank you to our ushers, our greeters, to those who coordinate and maintain our outreach offerings. The list goes on and on. And then, just wait. The next words were going to be, and then there's our choir. Patience, Frank. Every other Sunday, I'm reminded of just how grateful I am for that choir, for their director, Steve McCamley, for our musician, Les Tacey. And when they sing, I think back to how excited they were when at last they were able to resume singing with each other in person a few months ago. And I remember that Billy Collins phrase, I think they were cockeyed with gratitude. How can they keep from singing? Their huge smiles of delight, perhaps hidden but not quite masked by those special choral masks that make it possible to safely sing together and for us. Which, of course, makes me think of science. Boy, am I grateful for science this Thanksgiving. For the vaccine, for the understanding of how the virus is transmitted, all that stuff. I'm thankful to be part of a faith community and a religion that celebrates science, trusts science, believes in science, because so many do not. Yes, it's been a strange time these past couple of years, an unsettling time. It's also been a time of transition for our church. We have welcomed 2 new staff members for whom I am very thankful as well. Any mention of the behind-the-scenes work that makes our Sunday services possible would not be complete without lifting up our wonderful church administrator, Volley Dugan. If you've got a order of service, you don't have to wave your arms. Turn around. She's right there. Wave at Volley. Clap for Volley. Thank you, Volley. And in addition to adding a new church administrator this year, we brought in a new religious educator, expanding the role to include working with our adults, with our entire church family, in fact. Now, Director of Lifespan Faith Development is a mouthful, which is why we're trying to work to learn that new acronym, DLFD. But whatever the title, I know I speak for the heritage community of all ages when I say how grateful I am that Lacey Adams is now with us. Lacey brings an added dimension to our professional staff that is unparalleled. Now, I don't know if she can hear me out in the Great Hall right now or if she's outside somewhere braving the elements with our young people, but wherever you are, Lacey, this Thanksgiving season, we give thanks for you. There are, of course, hopefully she can hear that. She can either hear that or she can watch it later on the website. There are many, many others who are not on the church's staff that I want to lift up too. Many volunteers who bring this village of heritage to life, not just on Sundays, but throughout the week, each and every week. I work closely with teams and committees ranging from the board, Board of Trustees, to ministry and personnel. Lacey works with a Lifespan Faith Development Committee, a fine group of folks called the Finance Committee, keep track of our money. And did you even know that our annual operating budget is more than $250,000, and that needs to be kept track of? That needs to be intentionally worked with. And as long as I'm talking about the finance team, I want to mention that today is the last Sunday that Wyndham Draper and Diana Draper will be with us here in this sanctuary. The Drapers are moving back to Canada, and just when it starts to get cold, and they will be sorely missed. We send them on their way with our love and our blessings. They have been members here at Heritage for several years now, and their departure reminds us, it reminds me, of the fact that each one of us is here in this special place, in this special community, for only a brief time. We are all participants, as the Wendell Berry poem puts it, in a dance, moving in and out of one another's lives and the life of this church. So let it be a dance, as the hymn tells us. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Friends, the dance in and of itself is perhaps the greatest blessing. This dance of community, this dance of relationship, this dance of interconnection. To be part of this ever-evolving, ever-changing, but also ever-steadfast, loving community that we call Heritage, it is a blessing. Thank you for dancing here with me this Thanksgiving Sunday and all throughout the year. Thank you. So now let's dance just a little. Lift your hearts, lift your spirits, lift your body if that works for you. And join me and our choir in singing our closing hymn and saying our benediction. There's something very meaningful, something spiritual about singing and speaking together in community like we do, and I hope that you feel that this morning. Our traditional Thanksgiving hymn is printed in your order of service or will appear on whatever screen you may be looking at. Let's sing it now. Aware of our blessings, please join me in our traditional Heritage Church benediction. May the Spirit of life, that each of us possesses, flow from one to the other. May it stay with us, and bring us peace and harmony. Until we meet again. Amen. Be careful this holiday season. Be safe. I love you. Go in peace.